Chapter 1. I steadied myself by gripping the door, staring at the shameless Alex before me, struggling to recognize the man I once loved. Our 6 years together, and this is what I get. Do you think this is fair to me? The woman sprawled on my meticulously chosen bed suddenly let out a laugh. Some people just lack self-awareness. You were out fooling around, so you have no right to blame Mr. Smith. I shot her a furious glare. What do you mean by that? To my astonishment, she turned to Alex, her voice dripping with faux innocence. Mr. Smith, she's being so mean to me. With a sudden shove, Alex pushed me aside, his expression twisted in disdain. I know exactly what you did last night. Just look at yourself, disheveled and humiliated. Aren't you ashamed? It hit me like a bolt of lightning. Suddenly, I understood what had transpired the night before. Last night, I was at home, engrossed in reviewing files when I received a frantic call from Alex, demanding I deliver an urgent document for a client. When I arrived, I discovered it was at a private club. Not thinking much of it, I followed Alex's directions to the designated room. But instead of finding Alex, I was confronted by a client. A client I had blacklisted for attempting to exploit our female employees. He deceived me into believing Alex was in the restroom, coaxing me into drinking a spiked beverage. In disbelief, I stared at Alex. You orchestrated everything that happened last night. Alex's impatience flared. I have no idea what you're talking about. Stop with the wild accusations. What did I ever do to you to deserve this? I couldn't fathom why Alex would betray me so openly. I'm done arguing. You've seen what you needed to see. Let's just call it even. If you don't create a scene, we can all move on. But if you keep making this public, it will only tarnish your image. I trembled with rage. Get out. The woman on the bed fanned the flames. This is Mr. Smith's house. What right do you have to kick us out? I scoffed, my anger boiling over. Your Mr. Smith hasn't paid a single cent for this place. With a surge of determination, I forcibly ejected both Alex and the woman from my home. The woman shrieked, clinging to Alex. You're just jealous because I have a better figure than you. Alex shouted back, Claire, do you really have to do this? I fixed them with a cold stare. Alex, you live in my house, use my things, and bring a woman here to fool around. It's disgusting. In a fit of rage, I hurled all of Alex's belongings out the door, releasing my pent-up frustration. Yet beneath my fury, a profound sorrow enveloped me. I couldn't understand why Alex had changed so suddenly. After much reflection, I came to the painful realization that Alex had changed long ago. I just refused to see it. 2 months earlier, I had discovered a lipstick stain on one of Alex's shirts. A shade I would never wear. At that moment, Alex was absorbed in his phone. When I walked in holding the shirt, he immediately locked the screen, his demeanor shifting. Is the laundry done? Alex's shirts were custom-made and couldn't go in the washing machine. I always hand-wash them meticulously. What's this? I demanded, pointing at the lipstick stain. He raised an eyebrow dismissively. Just a lipstick stain, probably from a client joking around last night. I felt my anger rising. No joke justifies this. Didn't you tell her you have a girlfriend? It was just business. I didn't do anything wrong. Why are you being so sensitive? You think I enjoy this? I'm doing it for our future. That client is crucial. Offending them could harm the company. That doesn't mean you have to go that far. Our company relies on its strength. Impatiently, he interrupted. Stop nagging. I've explained myself and you still don't believe me. You think you're so clever, don't you? With a frustrated slam, he left the room. That was the first time we had a serious argument over personal issues. I had never seen Alex like that before. I called him repeatedly, but he didn't answer. Eventually, he turned off his phone. Worried that something might have happened to him, I stayed up all night, anxiety gnawing at me. He finally returned the next morning, reeking of alcohol. I helped him to his room, and as I did, Alex's phone lit up with a message. Hey, let's drink together again next time. A chill ran down my spine. When Alex woke up, I pressed him about his whereabouts. He claimed he had been out singing with friends and, to prove it, called one of them to corroborate his story in front of me. He mentioned that a girl at the party insisted on adding him on social media after discovering he was a photographer, just to get some photos taken. Alex apologized, insisting he shouldn't have lost his temper and that I shouldn't doubt him. Everything he did was for us. I wanted to believe him, because we had 6 years of history together. Chapter 3. I was college classmates with Alex. I met him while working part-time at a beverage shop off campus, where he came in to scout potential locations. The moment we met, he invited me to be his model. At first, I thought he was a scam artist since I had no experience in the modeling industry. Alex had a smooth-talking demeanor that made me feel uneasy and suspicious. However, he confidently presented all his credentials and shared some of his previous work. He insisted I was photogenic and perfect for modeling. The compensation he offered was too tempting to resist, so I decided to take the plunge and began my journey as a model. Although Alex appeared laid back, he proved to be quite skilled. The photos we took together caught the attention of several modeling agencies. He accompanied me to interviews and offered invaluable advice, which ultimately led me to sign with the same agency as him. As we worked closely together, we developed a strong synergy, often collaborating on the same projects, which resulted in us spending more and more time together. As we became closer, I discovered that beneath his playful exterior, Alex was genuinely a gentleman with women. He would step in to help me whenever I found myself in a tight spot, offering support and comfort. I agreed to date Alex one winter night when the first snow began to fall. I had a late-night jewelry shoot and Alex was the photographer. We finished around 11, and by that time the dorms had already closed for the night. As we stood outside, shivering from the cold, Alex told me to wait for a moment and then dashed off. A few minutes later, he returned, cradling a cup of steaming hot tea. "Drink this while it's still warm. It will help you feel better," he said, his breath visible in the frosty air. I was genuinely touched by his thoughtfulness. That night, we ended up spending hours in a convenience store talking and laughing. As dawn broke, Alex suddenly turned to me and asked, "Claire, will you be my girlfriend?" "Yes," I replied, my heart swelling with happiness. And just like that, we began our journey together as a couple. Now, reflecting back, it's been far too long since Alex bought me any tea. Chapter 4. Claire, Alex has fired you and hired a new VP to take your place. I was completely stunned when I received the call from my assistant. "I must have misheard you. What did you just say?" 6 years ago, shortly after graduation, Alex expressed his desire to start his own business. I thought this idea was unrealistic, especially since we lacked the necessary connections to make it work. So I advised Alex to gain more experience by continuing his job before venturing into entrepreneurship. But Alex was unwavering in his decision. One day he called me, his voice filled with excitement, saying he had landed a big client and was on the brink of success. However, everything fell apart and he ended up facing a substantial penalty. I didn't hesitate to use all my savings and take out a loan to help him navigate that crisis. Desperate, Alex begged me to join him in starting a business. Seeing how tirelessly he was working, I made the difficult decision to quit my job and support him. In those early days, I was tasked with bringing in clients, and I found myself attending countless social events, which ultimately led to a severe health scare. I ended up in the hospital with a bleeding stomach. When I woke up, Alex was sitting by my bedside, tears streaming down his face as he vowed to treat me better. Over time, we managed to turn things around, make a profit, and stabilize the business. As a symbol of our hard work, Alex bought a car and handed me the keys, saying, "From now on, only you will sit in the passenger seat." This car is a testament to our love. Despite still having loans to repay, I was moved to tears by his gesture. Alex was genuinely striving to make our lives better. Everyone in the company knew that there was only one person allowed in Alex's passenger seat. During company outings, my assistant would often express envy, wishing for a boyfriend like Alex. But now, the man everyone admired was telling me he wanted to fire me. I stormed into the office, fueled by a mix of anger and confusion. When I arrived, I found him with the woman I had seen at our home. Alex looked shocked to see me, his expression quickly turning cold. "What are you doing here?" Suppressing my disgust, I demanded, "On what grounds are you firing me? I own half of this company." Alex's face darkened, his voice sharp. "This is my company. Without me, do you really think you could manage such a large business?" I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. After 3 years of hard work, this was all he had to say? The woman in Alex's arms smirked and taunted me, "Mr. Smith is right. Without him, who would even know you?" Ignoring her completely, I locked my gaze on Alex. "I'm not leaving. I had poured my heart and soul into this company, and I would not abandon it so easily. The woman sneered, "You embarrassed a major client. How can you still show your face here?" I shot back, "And who are you to judge?" She boasted, "I'm the new VP Mr. Smith hired. From now on, I run this place." Suddenly, a memory flashed through my mind. One time I had found the passenger seat adjusted and a purple hair strand caught in the seatbelt buckle. So they had been involved for a long time, it seemed. Alex interjected, "Last night you injured Mr. Smith, a major client. Because of your actions, he has refused to work with us." "So this was your plan," I said, staring at Alex, anger and betrayal boiling within me. "Not only to ruin my reputation but to force me out of the company altogether." After a long pause, Alex finally said, "I'll compensate you." In that moment, I realized he had truly changed, and not for the better. Chapter 5. Alex offered me $2 million as if that could make everything go away. I didn't even hesitate. I kicked his lawyer out. Then Alex called, his tone drenched in frustration. "Claire, don't push your luck. You're the one who betrayed me first." I couldn't hold back the anger boiling inside me. "I betrayed you? Do you even have a shred of conscience, Alex? Who was the one breaking her back to bring in business for you, drinking so much she ended up in the hospital? Who took out loans to cover your debts? And now that you've made it, you think you can just throw me away? Do you really believe it's that easy?" A woman's voice suddenly chimed in, smug and condescending. "Oh, come on. Isn't it obvious? She just wants money. Women like her, so obsessed with status, should be dumped sooner rather than later. If you're worried about her needing cash, don't be. I'll make sure she gets what she's after." I heard Alex's voice soften immediately. "You're right, sweetheart. You've always been the one who truly understands me." I gritted my teeth, my grip tightening on the phone as they flirted shamelessly in front of me. Once their little love fest was over, Alex returned to me, his voice dripping with fake generosity. "All right, Claire. How much do you want? For old time's sake, I'll be reasonable." I couldn't help but laugh coldly. $8 million. Not a penny less. I had thought it through. If Alex wanted to back me into a corner, then he was going to feel the consequences. I knew exactly how much money his company had. If I took $8 million, he'd be left with next to nothing in liquidity. As expected, he didn't take it well. "Claire, you're insane. $8 million? Have you lost your mind?" I could hear the anger in his voice, and oddly, it made me feel a sense of calm, even satisfaction. "What's the matter? I thought you were rolling in it. Why does this number suddenly bother you?" "My money didn't magically appear, Claire. Don't think you can just take it." I kept my voice steady. "Then there's nothing more to discuss. But let me be clear. This is your one and only chance. If you don't agree now, don't come asking me for a deal later." He laughed, the sound cold and bitter. "We'll see who's the winner, Claire." Then he hung up, and I smiled. I hoped they wouldn't let me down. It wasn't long before rumors started flying about me. People whispered that I'd been seen entering a hotel with some man, only leaving the next day. Suddenly, everyone was feeling sorry for Alex, saying he must have been crazy to fall for someone like me. My best friend rushed over, clearly upset. "Claire, what's going on with all these rumors?" That's when I told her everything. How Alex had been cheating, how he had set me up from the very beginning. Is he even human? How could he do something so awful? She cried, pulling me into a hug, her heart breaking for me. I squeezed her hand, trying to reassure her. "It's all right. I'll make sure he regrets every single thing he's done." He was fuming. "You don't even know the half of it. He's out there playing the victim, telling anyone how much he still cares about you. He's saying that if you just came back, he'd forgive everything, no questions asked." I hadn't expected Alex to paint himself as the heartbroken, devoted man. But that was fine. The higher he climbed, the harder he'd fall. Chapter 6. It didn't take long before a video made its way online. It was Alex, caught on camera with another woman, tangled together on the living room couch. But that wasn't even the worst part. In the same video, they were openly discussing how they planned to frame me, making it look like I had been unfaithful. What Alex didn't know was that, during one of his business trips, we'd had a break-in. My best friend was staying over and we were both scared out of our minds. After that incident, I installed a couple of hidden cameras around the house for security. I just never had the chance to tell Alex before he tried to set me up. After kicking him out, I retrieved the footage. Watching him sit there, calmly plotting with someone else to destroy me, I knew I was done. There was no coming back from this. The video didn't blur their faces. Everyone who mattered saw exactly what he'd done. The tide turned fast. My social media feed blew up with people tearing Alex apart. He couldn't handle the backlash, and soon enough my phone rang with his name on the screen. "Claire, how could you do this to me?" I laughed coldly. "You tried to ruin me and now you're mad I fought back? Here's a tip. If you don't want to be exposed, maybe don't mess around in my house." His tone shifted, desperation creeping in. "Just take the video down. Tell people it was fake and I'll give you the 8 million you wanted." I didn't miss a beat. Too late. His anger flared. "Claire, you violated my privacy. I'll sue you for this. Go ahead." I wasn't scared of him anymore. And just like that, I found myself sitting in court facing Alex, the man I once loved, now sitting across from me as the plaintiff. It was surreal. Who could have predicted that we'd end up here on opposite sides of a courtroom? Two people who once shared everything are now strangers in every possible way. Alex's lawyer went after me with everything he had, but I sat there, calm and composed. I knew the truth. That's when I learned the woman in the video was Holly Morris, the daughter of the Morris Group CEO. Apparently, Alex had met her at her birthday party where sparks flew, and the rest was history. After they got together, Holly pulled in a few lucrative clients for Alex. This lawsuit? It was all thanks to her connections. She'd even brought in one of the top lawyers from her father's company to represent Alex. No wonder he was willing to throw me aside so easily. But no matter how good their lawyer was, the truth was on my side. As the lawyer hammered away with his questions, Alex sat there, playing the victim like he always did, acting as if he were the one who'd been wronged. The judge turned to me. "Does the defendant have anything to say?" "Yes," I said confidently. "The accusations being made against me? They're false." I handed over a stack of documents. "This is proof that my home network was hacked. The police have already confirmed it. The footage from my security cameras was accessed without my knowledge. I didn't release the video." But I didn't stop there. My lawyer turned things around, bringing up the little conspiracy between Alex and Holly. The opposing lawyer was caught off guard, scrambling to dismiss it as irrelevant. "Well," I said, leaning back, "I've already filed a separate lawsuit for that. So you'll have to answer for it eventually." Yes, I wasn't just defending myself. I was going after Alex and Holly for conspiracy and wrongful termination. They weren't walking away from this unscathed. In the end, I won. As I left the courtroom, Alex and Holly looked like they'd been hit by a truck, their faces pale and full of defeat. Alex caught up to me in the hallway, desperation seeping through his voice. "Claire, do you really have to be this heartless?" I met his eyes, unflinching. "That's funny. I should be asking you the same thing." Chapter 7. After a long, exhausting battle, Alex and I finally came to an agreement. He paid me $10 million and I dropped the charges against him. On the day I left the company, Holly had the nerve to station security guards around me as if she wanted to make my exit as humiliating as possible. I knew exactly what she was up to, trying to make my life difficult. But I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction. I walked out without taking a single thing. Right in front of her smug little audience, I shredded every document I had. All the files, all the work I'd poured myself into for years, turned to tiny pieces of paper. I had walked in with nothing when I first joined the company, and now I was leaving the same way. What happened next, though, left a bigger impact than I expected. A mass exodus swept through Alex's company. Most of the employees were people I'd personally hired over the years. When they found out I was gone, they didn't hesitate. They resigned in waves, one after another, saying they'd rather leave than stay without me. Holly, of course, didn't care. She'd never liked the team I built. She was eager to replace them with her own people. But there was just one problem: her hires couldn't do the job. Before long, they lost several important clients due to sheer incompetence. I had planned to take a break, to finally exhale after everything I'd been through. But when I saw how many of my former colleagues were left without jobs because of me, I couldn't just sit back. I had to help them. I wasn't going to let them struggle to make ends meet. So I did what I knew best. I started my own company. I knew how hard it would be. After all, I'd been through the challenges of starting a business before. I braced myself for the usual roadblocks and setbacks. But to my surprise, things went smoother than I could have imagined. After everything Alex had done, people in the industry were sympathetic to my situation. Word spread that I was starting a new venture, and many of the clients I had worked with in the past reached out, offering their support. One of those clients was Star Gems Jewelry. I had a bit of history with Star Gems. My very first modeling gig, the cover of a magazine ad, was for them back when they went by a different name. I had tried to win them over as a client years ago, but it didn't work out. So when they approached me this time, I was intrigued. I scheduled a meeting with the person in charge, and when I walked into the room, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was someone I knew, someone I owed my life to. Alex had set me up, planning to have me assaulted by some sleazy businessman before kicking me to the curb. But things didn't go as he expected. When Mr. Smith tried to force himself on me, I grabbed a wine bottle and smashed it over his head, then ran out of the room, desperate for help. That's when I found Lucas Morgan. Lucas not only shielded me from Mr. Smith, who was chasing after me, but he also took me to the hospital and stayed by my side until I regained consciousness. And now here he was, sitting across from me as the general manager of Star Gems Jewelry. Chapter 8. I haven't had the chance to properly thank you, Mr. Morgan. I really owe you for what you did last time. I felt a bit awkward. If I'd known I'd be meeting Lucas today, I would have brought him a small gift to show my appreciation. But Lucas just waved it off with a smile. It was nothing really. How are you feeling? Fully recovered. He didn't seem to notice my awkwardness at all, which oddly put me at ease. That night, after Lucas rushed me to the hospital, I'd broken out in a rash all over. The doctor told me it was an allergic reaction to whatever drug had been slipped into my drink. By the next morning, the marks hadn't completely faded when I got home, which led to Alex jumping to all the wrong conclusions. I'm fine now, thanks for asking. I shifted the conversation back to business, eager to move past the uncomfortable memories. Shall we dive into the proposal? I handed him the project plan I'd worked tirelessly on. Star Gems Jewelry was the biggest client I had a shot at landing. I'd given this proposal everything I had: late nights, early mornings, and my absolute best ideas. I couldn't afford to mess this up. Lucas flipped through the pages, but then he shook his head slightly. My heart sank. Is something wrong, Mr. Morgan? He paused, thinking before speaking. It's not that the proposal is bad, but I think your team's design doesn't quite align with the vision we have for Star Gems. I opened my mouth to respond, but I froze. My mind raced, trying to figure out what had gone wrong. I could feel a bead of sweat starting to form on my forehead. But to my relief, Lucas wasn't being harsh. It's probably a case of miscommunication, he said, his tone gentle. I'm guessing the final designs from our side didn't make it to your team. Would you be open to visiting our studio? I think seeing the pieces firsthand might spark some fresh ideas. I blinked, surprised. Really? But I know. I couldn't believe he was offering to show me their unreleased designs. Jewelry concepts like that are usually kept under lock and key. Was he seriously letting me, an outsider, take a look? Lucas flashed a reassuring smile. I trust you, Miss Guan. His words made me feel both flattered and a little embarrassed. But with such a huge opportunity on the line, I wasn't going to let my nerves stop me. So I swallowed my hesitation and joined Lucas at the studio. After that visit, I spent 2 more sleepless nights reworking the proposal from scratch. This time, when I presented it, Lucas was thoroughly impressed. Even after we signed the contract, I had to pinch myself. I'd really landed Star Gems as a client. It felt surreal. With this deal, I was finally on solid ground in the industry. When I first broke things off with Alex, his so-called friends wasted no time mocking me, convinced I'd crash and burn. Holly pulled some strings to sabotage a few of my early deals, and I'm sure Alex was sitting back waiting for me to fail. But now, as I stood tall with Star Gems in my corner, I couldn't help but smile at the thought of how disappointed they must be. Chapter 9. The advertising shoot for Star Gems Jewelry was my most important project of the year. I oversaw the entire process, practically living at the studio, striving for perfection. To my surprise, Mr. Morgan also showed up. He was an excellent leader, deeply knowledgeable about his products, offering numerous suggestions. Having delved deeply into their product line, I understood his ideas immediately. Our collaboration was so seamless that we cut the shoot time in half. On the final day, I invited Mr. Morgan to dinner to thank him. But when I went to pay, the waiter informed me that Mr. Morgan had already settled the bill. I felt embarrassed. I was supposed to treat you. How could I let you pay? Mr. Morgan smiled warmly. I have a membership card for this place. It was easy. Feeling even more embarrassed, I wished I had chosen a different restaurant. Thankfully, Mr. Morgan offered me an out. "If you really want to repay me, would you be my date for a party next week?" Without thinking, I agreed. "I'll be there on time." On the night of the event, I didn't expect to see Alex. He was with Holly. They were both dressed in dark purple outfits. I never bought dark colors for Alex. They made his dark complexion look older. Apparently, he didn't notice, strutting around like a peacock, networking. Eventually, he approached us. But he only greeted Mr. Morgan. Alex was surprised to see me, then looked puzzled, understanding, and finally mocking. He didn't speak to me, and I acted like I didn't know him. Until I left the restroom and found Alex blocking my way. "No wonder you started a company. You've got someone backing you. Is Mr. Morgan your lover? You've been seeing him all along, haven't you?" I coldly stared at Alex. "Watch your mouth. Not everyone is like you." Alex sneered. "If it weren't for an affair, why would he work with you?" I tried to meet him 3 times and got nothing. I was shocked to learn Alex had approached Mr. Morgan. I rolled my eyes. "That only shows your business skills and character are lacking." Alex's face turned ugly. He grabbed my wrist hard. "Claire, don't get too smug. With ZenCorp backing me, crushing you would be like squashing an ant." I sneered. "Is relying on women all you can do? You be asterisk 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 asterisk." Alex raised his hand to hit me, but someone caught his wrist. Mr. Morgan stepped between us, pushing Alex's hand away. "Mr. Smith, what are you trying to do to my date?" Alex didn't dare provoke Mr. Morgan. He spat out a threat. "We'll see who has the last laugh." Mr. Morgan turned to me, holding my hand gently. "Are you okay?" I shook my head. "Thanks to you, he didn't manage to do anything." Mr. Morgan looked remorseful. "I should have considered they might attend." I shrugged. The industry is small. We were bound to run into each other sooner or later. Chapter 10. Holly showing up at my office was a surprise. I was in a meeting when she barged in. "Claire, we need to talk." I looked at the spoiled heiress and signaled security to escort her out. I had nothing to say to her. Holly yelled, "Claire, how dare you treat me like this?" I found it amusing. Why wouldn't I dare? This is my company and you're not a client. I need to talk to you. I had no interest in anything she had to say. We have nothing to discuss. "I can give Alex back to you," Holly suddenly shouted. I thought I misheard. "Didn't you love him so desperately, showering him with resources?" Holly gritted her teeth. "I regret it. Alex is just a gold digger and a cheat. And it was his idea to have you entertain the client. He was the mastermind trying to pin the blame on me to save himself." I laughed. "Your fight is your problem. I don't recycle trash." Not only had my feelings for Alex faded, but I also had no desire to take back a traitor. I couldn't trust someone like Alex again. Holly's eyes widened in disbelief at my rejection. "You used to love him so much and you have 6 years of history." I glared at her. "Did you think of that when you seduced him? Now, I don't love him anymore." That evening, Mr. Morgan came to pick me up from work. Since our collaboration, he had given me all his company's advertising contracts and recommended many clients. My team joked that Mr. Morgan was courting me, but he never brought it up. He would just visit the office, take me out for meals, and help me whenever he could. Gradually, I got used to his presence. Sometimes, I wondered if I should say yes if Mr. Morgan asked me to be his girlfriend. I told Mr. Morgan about Holly's visit. He knew more than I did. "The drug you were given was illegal, and the hospital's report confirmed it. Holly provided it to Alex. She's scared of being caught, so she came to you, likely hoping you'd drop the charges." But Holly's pride kept her from apologizing, so I had no reason to drop the case. Chapter 11. Alex showed up unexpectedly. I had just reached my apartment door when he appeared, startling me. "Claire." It took me a moment to recognize the disheveled man as Alex. "What are you doing here?" I was on guard. I had sold the old place after Alex and his woman desecrated it, moving to a new address known to few. "How did he find me?" "Claire, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me?" Alex's plea left me in shock. How could he have the nerve to say such things? Had I been blind to what a despicable person he was? "Alex, you were the one who betrayed our relationship, who tried to sell me out for profit. Now you want forgiveness? Dream on." Alex hung his head. "I know I was wrong. Punish me however you want, but please forgive me. I really regret what I did." I laughed coldly. If you're truly sorry, go to the police and confess how you framed me." Alex left. A few days later, I heard that Holly and her father had been summoned by the police. For some reason, Alex hadn't been arrested. I thought that was the end of it, until I received a court summons. Alex was suing me, claiming I had sold his property without permission and demanding compensation for financial and emotional damages. His audacity was staggering. That house had nothing to do with him financially. Alex's photography work made money but also cost a lot. When I wanted to buy a house to avoid rental issues, Alex called it a pipe dream. My parents helped with the down payment and I paid the mortgage. When the house was ready, Alex wanted a studio of his own. I gave up my dream of a home gym and converted a room into his studio. I kept it a secret to surprise him. During that time, Alex often gave me the cold shoulder. Until I showed him the studio, then he was happy. Alex never paid a cent toward the mortgage. I never minded because we were partners. Now he was suing me for property theft. Fortunately, my parents had insisted on putting the house in their names to protect me. So when I presented the original deed and my payment records, Alex and his lawyer were stunned. "The mortgage payments came from my earnings," Alex protested. I felt sickened by his lies. After the company started, I didn't draw a salary for a whole year and even put my own money into it. My bank records can prove it. I submitted the evidence to the court. Alex jumped up shouting, "She's lying." I gave her cash. The judge coolly asked, "Do you have any proof of these cash payments? Or witnesses?" Alex had no answer. I felt a sense of satisfaction. He can't prove it. Employee salaries were paid directly to bank accounts, which can be verified. Alex's face turned pale. He lost. Chapter 12. Without Holly's financial support, Alex's company collapsed. He had spent the company's funds to please Holly, breaking the cash flow. So he tried to extort money from me or his company would go bankrupt. Mr. Morgan explained this to me after investigating. "Do you want to help him?" Mr. Morgan asked. I raised an eyebrow. Why would I? He deserves it. Alex was never good at management. I had seen his downfall coming. Mr. Morgan laughed at my response. "Shall we celebrate?" "Certainly, my treat." To celebrate Alex's downfall and reward myself, I bought a new car. As I got out and headed to the elevator, someone rushed at me, grabbing me. "Ah." I swung my bag in panic, hitting the person. "Claire, it's me." Alex crouched on the ground, looking up at me. I stepped back, wary. "What are you doing here?" "Claire, I know I was wrong. Can we get back together?" Alex pleaded. "No." Seeing his wrinkled shirt, I knew he was struggling and wanted to use me for my money. Alex continued to beg. "We have 6 years together. I love you. Holly seduced me. Please give me another chance." I looked at him, crying like a dog, feeling nothing. "Alex, if Holly weren't in jail, would you be here?" Alex nodded frantically. "I never liked her. I was just playing around." I believed him. He only liked Holly's money. "But Alex, I no longer love you. Look at yourself, you're like trash. Why would I get back with you? I can do better." Leaving Alex was the best decision I ever made. "Don't come looking for me again. We're never getting back together." "Then lend me some money," Alex suddenly demanded. "I don't have any." He didn't believe me. "You just bought a car. How can you have no money?" I nodded. "I spent my money on the car. Besides, why should I give you money? I earned it myself." "What about the $1 million I gave you?" I rolled my eyes. "Alex, whose efforts do you think earned that money? If I hadn't worked hard to secure clients and train employees, do you think you could have made money? That was my money, not yours." "Cheap woman." Alex pounced, pinning me to the ground, his hands around my throat. He glared down at me. "I've begged you and you still won't forgive me. If I'm going down, you're coming with me." I tried to pry his hands off but was too weak. I couldn't breathe. Was this how I would die? "Someone please help me." Just as I was about to lose consciousness, I heard a voice. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in the hospital. Next to me was Ethan. As soon as Ethan saw me awake, he quickly grabbed my hand and called the doctor over to check on me. He never let go of my hand the entire time. My throat had been injured by Alex, so I couldn't speak temporarily. Ethan filled me in on everything that had happened. He had just received the latest jewelry from his company last night and had come to show me. He arrived just in time to see Alex strangling me. He rushed in, beat Alex up, and brought me to the hospital. I've already reported it to the police, but Alex fled. Don't worry, the police will catch him, Ethan assured me. I nodded. Since I couldn't speak, Ethan used a sketchpad to write and chat with me. I asked him why he was being so kind to me. Wait a moment, Ethan said suddenly and left the room. I watched the doorway nervously. Ever since Alex had nearly strangled me, I had been afraid of being alone, constantly fearing something bad might happen. Thankfully, Ethan returned quickly. Seeing him at the door, I breathed a sigh of relief. Ethan handed me an exquisitely crafted box. This is for you. Under Ethan's expectant gaze, I opened the box to find a dazzling diamond necklace. I looked at Ethan. He licked his lips nervously. Actually, I've liked you for many years. I stared at him in surprise. The first time you came to the company for a photo shoot 6 years ago, I fell for you. But I was too shy and could only watch you from a distance. By the time I gathered the courage to approach you, you already had a boyfriend, so I gave up. When I found out you had broken up, I told myself I had to seize this chance. Ethan gripped the bedsheet tightly, asking softly, "Would you be my girlfriend?" I blinked and then took his hand. 6 months later, I heard on the news that Alex had been caught. At that moment, I was sitting on the balcony watching Ethan paint. Hearing the news, I just smiled faintly. The world is so beautiful. Why waste time on someone who doesn't deserve it?